wanted to make a quick video on how I made the fake rocks for my mermaid set. I'm really excited about the way they turned out. I think they look real. They're working out really good in the set, holding up the leaves and the foliage. So this is what they look like without the leaves and foliage. The little white holes in the top is where I put PVC pipes so that I could put the plants coming out the top so that they make the set look really realistic. So let me show you how I did it. Okay, so the first thing I did was I took a bunch of recycled bottles and I just started taping them all together. I figured if they were going to end up in a landfill at the bottom of the ocean or something, that I was going to put them to good use. So then I got the PVC pipe and I used the pipe cutter. I put it down the center, kind of towards the back, and I ended up taking it out later. I don't have anything to show you, but I took it out because I felt like it needed to be a bigger diameter so I could put more plants in it. But this gives you the idea what I did. So then I taped and taped and taped and just started forming what I felt looked like the rock and the shape that I wanted. This one I covered in foil, and then you'll see my giant blob. There's my rock blob. But then I got really smart and decided to start on the next one using a box and just packing all the materials. I ended up putting them in this plastic grocery bag, and you can kind of mold and shape the water bottles however you want. And then I just tied up the top, and that's one that I covered in chicken wire. So I kind of experimented and did, I don't know, I made some different shapes, and this is how I did it. Just stuffed a bunch of trash in them. So that worked good. So there's my beautiful trash blob. So now I'm gonna wrap everything in chicken wire. So I put on gloves because the chicken wire is kind of brutal on your fingers, and I did end up bleeding a little bit, but it was kind of fun to work with. I used wire cutters from a jewelry making kit that I had, and I just kind of used the ends of the wire to kind of bend it around and shape it and bend it into itself so that way it would be secure. And there you can see I have more plastic bags and foil just shoved in there, and that's what makes it have its shape. So this was the biggest rock that I made, and I really liked the way it turned out, but once I covered it with cement, it was pretty heavy, so it takes 2 people to lift it. Then another thing I did was I put these wire extensions off the back, that way that I can put more plant stems through here. So I can have plant stems through the back of the rock to hold it up, and then I can also put plant stems through this PVC. Then I have my mixing trough and my pouring pitcher. I used Quikrete and this coconut core and perlite for the first mix that I did. Now I guess peat moss and Portland cement are what I should have used, but peat moss, there is apparently a shortage of peat moss in the country, and I only had this crack resistant concrete on hand, so I tried it. Then you mix it with the perlite, and your formula should be 1 part of Portland cement, 1.5 of perlite, and 1.5 of peat moss or coconut core. And then you end up pouring your water in, and when you mix it, you don't want it to be too wet and runny, but you don't want it to be too hard and crumbly either. So you have to get your water mix just right. And if in doubt, go back and add some more Portland cement. And I would have used Portland cement instead of the Quikrete. Did I already tell you that? Then, so this is your kind of, I don't know, it's like a dirty mixture, and I shoved this and smashed it into all of the chicken wire. This is a better mix than just going with straight mortar, because mortar gets really heavy. So this kind of gave it a light, fluffy filler between the chicken wire and the trash. And when you mix it with the Portland cement, it gets hard enough that it holds everything in, so it's pretty cool. Then what I did was I mixed up some pre-blended dry mortar with water, and I frosted it on the top. I could have probably left it with the peat moss or the coconut core mix, but it was really kind of flaking off, and because I'm using it in my studio indoors, I didn't want to have it dirty and just flaking everywhere. So I mixed up this mortar, and you can see where I'm pointing to right now is where I had the peat moss mix, and then I'm gonna take the mortar and put it on and kind of frost it like you're frosting a cake. And you can kind of mold it and shape it and use your hands. You can use a trough or a trowel, whatever that thing's called, trowel. Or you can just get in there with your hands. Now I think what I did too is I'm going to show you how you can kind of cut a line into it. You can make it look rocky. You can just go crazy and I don't know. make it look like a rock. I don't know. So give it some texture and just kind of work that mortar in and it'll look great. So here's what it looks like if you just do the mortar and you don't use the peat moss or the coconut coir mix first, which it worked okay, but it just made it really heavy. So here's the finished babies, and they're working out really good for what I'm using them for. And the other cool thing is you can store them outside, because who wants big old fake rocks in your house? And you can use them for outdoor decorating too. So I'm gonna put them in my fairy set next, and I also have a fishing set that I'm working on. And if you liked my video, please subscribe to my channel, hit like, and I'm gonna do my best to make some more videos of my projects that I have coming up. Thanks a lot.